to our Crazy Life Scotland and episode 1 of Saturday Storytime. If you've watched me for a while, you know that I've been thinking about doing a sort of sit-down, chatty, story type video rather than a vlog every now and again, just to tell you anything that you might want to know about me or my life or anything like that. So I thought I would start off with this one because it's quite a controversial one. So, I don't know how long it's going to be. I'll try not to haver too much, but grab yourself a cuppa of whatever you like. I've got a white chocolate coconut latte. So pause this, go get yourself a coffee or a tea or a little tipple, whatever you prefer. Come back and get yourself comfortable. Now I can begin. So today for episode 1 of Saturday Storytime, I thought I would explain to you what I meant in a recent vlog where I said we had a visit from the police. It definitely merits a storytime video of itself. I will link that vlog for you if you've not seen it, but this video is just explaining the story of how we came to have a policeman come to visit us. So a couple of weeks ago, it was the school holidays. Brooke and 2 of her friends were in town in Helensburgh. They like to do that a lot when they've got time at the weekends or school holidays and things. And what they do is they hang around the park or they go for walks around the shop or get some ice cream, just minding their own business and enjoying life, enjoying being with each other. This one time, a couple of weeks ago, they were walking past the train station at Helensburgh and they heard a bit of a commotion and turned round, and 2 teenagers, or I think it was mainly a group of teenagers, but there was 2 in particular, had been thrown out of the train station. And it became apparent that they had stolen some cleaning supplies from the train station. And Brooke thinks that they were drunk or on drugs or something as well. They looked, Brooke said, maybe about 15, 16-year-old. So Brooke turned round, as you do when you hear a commotion. They all turned round and looked. And this one girl in particular gave her a dirty look, and it was like started going towards her. And she was like, oh, wait a minute, she wasn't staring at her, or if it did come across as she was staring at her, Brooke's got autism. So sometimes she doesn't know the right level of eye contact. If you're talking to her about something specific, she'll look away from you. But if there's something that she sees that catches her attention, it might look like she's staring. We used to give her a row for that all the time when she was younger. If she saw somebody in a wheelchair or somebody bigger, somebody that looked different, she would look at them, but not in a bad way. It's like she's looking, trying to process the differences. So anyway, the girl and a boy started going towards them, and so Brooke and her friends walked away quickly. The girl started spraying something at her, which could have been anything considering they'd just stolen cleaning supplies. Thankfully, we could tell by her hair and the shirt she was wearing it wasn't bleach, because it would have went white and it would have burnt her. But whatever it was, if it had been in her eyes rather than the back of her neck, she could have been blinded. So when they did that, Brooke doesn't like conflict. She doesn't like confronting people. So her and her friends sort of ran, and they ran up to the Co-op, which is one of the big stores in Helensburgh. So they went in, but the other 2 followed them. So Brooke and her friends moved out the way, and they could see that the 2 people were stealing things. They stole flowers and I can't remember what else it was. And they thought, right, okay, they're going to end up getting caught and, we'll get away from them. But that's not what happened. So Brooke went round the corner and one of them was coming towards her. So she ran, how there's aisles in like supermarkets. But one of them had stayed at one end and the other one had stayed at the other end, so that they were cornered, so that Brooke couldn't get away. For some reason, it was mainly Brooke that they had a thing about. So Brooke went up to one of the staff members and explained what was happening. And they said, right, okay, we'll watch. That's not going to help anything. So they watched, and Brooke said that they went out one of the doors, the door that they'd all went in. So Brooke and her friends decided to go out the other door towards the car park so that they could get away from them, just lose them. So they went out the other door and they were walking quickly, but then they heard, "That's them!" And the 2 of them started running towards them. So Brooke, being Brooke, she took to her heels and ran. trying to find an adult that would help her. So there was a man walking towards her. Brooke went up to him and said, "These people are following us, they want to hurt us, can you help us?" Do you know what he said? "Sorry, I've got somewhere to be," and walked away. I was absolutely astonished that any adult would do that to any teenager. I mean, Brooke's 13. And I couldn't believe it when she said that. So Brooke was like, all right, okay, taken aback. She thought she'd done the right thing by going to find an adult, which is what you would do. I mean, regardless of how busy you are or where you're going, if a teenager runs up to you and tells you there's people chasing them wanting to hurt them, you would help, or I would. So Brooke turned round at that point and saw that the people had got hold of her two friends and... Right, dogs! Sorry about them barking. Here's Clyde coming for my coffee. So they got hold of her two friends, and one of them had, the female had one of their heads down and was punching her head and pulling her hair, and the other one got her hair pulled. So Brooke started running back towards them again, but spotted another woman, and that woman went... She saw what was going on and went over and basically broke them up. And it turned out that the woman was a friend of one of Brooke's friends' mum, if you know what I mean. So the woman knew Brooke's friends. And she split them up and said to Brooke and their two friends, right, get in my car. So they went in the car, and the lady, I don't know what she was going to do, whether she was about to get in the car or what, but the two people that had been after them picked up a massive like plastic bollard type thing and threw it at the lady's car. So the lady was like, "No, I'm not having this." So she phoned the police, and as soon as they realised the police were being phoned, the two scarpered, and that was the last that they saw of it. So the lady was kind enough to I think she took them back to the friend's house, and Brooke's friend's mum brought Brooke and Mary back because it was when Mary was staying here with us. So they were very shaken. Of course, they loved the drama of it. Being teenagers, it was like, oh, and give Brooke her due. When all this was happening, she phoned me, and like when she got in the safety of the mum's friend's car, she phoned me and said, something's happened, but we're okay. And she told me the story, and she told me that the police were being phoned. So she handled it really well. I have to say, the three of them, for being young teenagers, really handled it well. And so Brooke and Mary came home and they told me the story. And at first they said that the police didn't go because they didn't have anybody free to go. And I thought, that's a sign of the times, isn't it? Just the police aren't there when you need them. But then she said, no, I think the police are going to get in touch with the lady that helped them the next day. And I was like, right, that's fine. So Mary did have a bit of a bruise on her cheek. Brooke had a bit of a scratch behind her ear. Thankfully, whatever they sprayed at her didn't do any damage. So they were fine that night. And I think the adrenaline was still going, and you know, the drama of it all. But the next day they were a bit, I don't want to go into town now. What if they're there again? What if they're at our school? I've not seen them, but they might be at our school and they might come after us when we're at school. So the panic started to set in the next day. So it was quite a relief when Mary's mum actually got in touch with me and said, the police are here talking to me. They're wanting your address and phone number. And I went, no problem. So I gave her it. And then she phoned me back later on and said, right, the police are on their way over to you. Is it okay if Mary just gives her statement when she's there? And I was like, yeah, no problem. So that is why we ended up with a visit from the police. Now, he couldn't find us. Nobody can ever find us here. So we phoned and said, I'm trying to find your house. So Jack's dad and Anne were actually here at the time. Jack's dad jogged out to find them and brought him in. And he was in a plain-clothed car. Obviously it wasn't a marked car. We always call it as a plain-clothed car. but he did have his uniform on, and it turns out he's one of the community police officers, and he also works at Brooke's school, which is good. I don't think Brooke knew him, but the fact that he worked at the school made her instantly sort of calm. So because we had a house full of people, Granny Annie said that they could do the interview in the cabin, because obviously they had to have an adult with them when they're being interviewed by the police. So the police took them one at a time, and he took Mary in first and got the story, and she was in for a good half hour, I would say. And then Mary came out and Brooke went in, and I'm thinking, oh no, because Brooke's autistic, you just don't know what she's going to say or do, or you know what it's like. It's like, oh. But my mum said she did brilliantly. She wouldn't look at him, you know, she was looking around her and went, oh Gran, I like that, you know, and it was like she wasn't paying attention, but the policeman knew that she was autistic, my mum had said, so he was fine. He knew that she was listening and just let her do her own thing. And my mum said the detail that she gave was unbelievable, and it matched Mary's story exactly, because you know they weren't making anything up. They went through it step by step exactly what had happened. And once that had been done, Brooke was in for about half an hour as well, and once it was done, the policeman came out and said to me, are you mum? I was like, yeah. So I gave all my details, and he said the girls have done so well at giving us descriptions and things. I went, that's good. He said, but the good thing is we actually caught them. So when they heard the woman on the phone to the police, they ran, but they were unwittingly running towards the police station. So as the police came out, because they got the phone call, they caught them because they'd given such a good description. Brooke had actually taken a photo of them on her phone and sent them to her friend's mum. So they knew exactly what they looked like, and I thought that was such quick, clever thinking, Brooke. So the police had actually caught them. And he said, I'm not allowed to give you too much information, obviously. He said, but what I can tell you is they're not from around here. They're not from Helensburgh, and they do not go to the girls' school. And it was like, oh, thank goodness. And because they told Brooke and Mary the same thing, and I would imagine they would have went and spoken to the other friend as well, they were instantly relieved as well, thinking, right, okay, it's okay to go into town. Right. Sorry about that. The dog started going nuts because my dad drew up in the car. Where was I? Yeah, so the police had said they're not from here, they don't go to their school, so that was a relief for everybody. And he did also say they will be getting charged with a number of offences. So it sounds like a lot of people complained about them. It wasn't just Brooke. I think they were basically causing havoc with everybody. It was like they came here just to cause havoc. So that was a relief, but the policeman did say, you know, you should be so proud of the girls. They handled it so well, and the description they've gave, their statement is brilliant. So that was really good to know. And yeah, it's always scary when the police come to your door, isn't it? It's like, oh, what's going on? Even though I knew what was going on, it's like when you've got a policeman driving in the car behind you, you think you're doing everything wrong, even though you're not. You just expect to get pulled over for nothing. So he was really good, and he was chatty as well. He was chatting away to us about football. He supports the same team as us, and he was blethering away about that. And he said, now, if there's anything at all, give us a phone, but, you know, reassure the girls that they shouldn't see them again, and that they definitely won't see them at school. And if they ever have any issues at school, just to come and see me, because obviously now they know him, so they wouldn't be scared to go and talk to him, which I think was brilliant. And I do think it's good that there's a community police officer linked to the school, so that people can go and talk to them about anything if they need to. So that was really good. And then the next day, I actually got a phone call from social work. Now, we did have social work involvement with Brooke at the end of last year and the beginning of this year, because we went through a really tough time with her autism. But social work have now, you know, they're not involved unless we want to get in touch with them for help for anything, because she's got no support anyway. That's a different story. But social work phoned, and I was like, what are they phoning for? And she said, no, it's just because they're minors, the police always send a report to social work so that they can get in touch just to make sure they're okay. It wasn't, they weren't having a go at the parents or a go at the kids or anything. It was basically just to say, are they okay and do they need any help? Which I thought was really nice as well, because when we were involved with the social workers, they weren't very helpful at all. So that was nice that they phoned. And as it turned out, the next day that they went into town, they felt okay because they were like, they're not going to be there, it's fine. And to be honest, I think Brooke's at it. I told Brooke to get the 7 o'clock bus home, and she messaged me 5 minutes before saying, I can't go to the bus stop because those people are there. I'll need to get the 8 o'clock bus. And I was like, no, go along to the next bus stop. But I thought, no, I'll just leave it. There's no harm. It's the summer holidays. There's no harm if she gets a later bus. But she still insists that they were there, but they've been told not to go. So I don't know. But they've never seen them since, which is a good thing. And it hasn't put them off going back into town. So there you go. That is the story of why we had a visit from the police a couple of weeks ago. And it all worked out well. No, none of them were badly injured. They were shaken up. They did enjoy the drama of it. There's no getting away from it. But the police handled it really well. The girls, I'm so proud of them for being 13. The way they handled it was really, really good. But what we did say to them was, why did you not punch them back? They started getting physical with you because we don't want to fight. But, we've been told not to fight. And we said, no, you don't fight. Never throw the first punch. But if somebody's coming after you like that, you need to defend yourself, especially if they're lifting things to throw at cars and stuff. If they've got your head down like that, you need to be able to defend yourself. Stand on their foot, punch them in the stomach, pull their hair, whatever you have to do to get out of that. All right, okay. Because, Brooke's like me, she's a lover, not a fighter. I would much rather be nice to everybody and say, right, can we calm down and sort this out? I can fight with my mouth. If someone really gets to me, I will give them verbals. But if they lift their hand to me, I am a major coward. So you can bear that in mind if you ever have a confrontation with me. So yes, I wanted to explain why we had a visit to the police. I know a couple of you were curious about it, and that is what had happened. So I hope you've enjoyed this type of video, this Saturday story time. I do have another couple of stories in mind for this. When I first started talking about doing a chatty story video, a couple of people asked for me to cover a few things like how I adapted to life in a wheelchair. Someone asked me to tell the story about why I have no teeth, that sort of thing. So I will definitely do more of these videos. It won't be every week, but just as and when I've got something to talk about, I'll come on and I'll do a little story time for you. So please let me know in the comments below if you do like this type of video. If not, please tell me, and that way I won't waste my time doing it. But I just think it's better to talk about some of these issues separately rather than in a daily vlog, and I'm more than happy to do it. You know me, my life is an open book. There's not much that I won't talk about other than Jack, because Jack's a very private person. He doesn't like talking about his life on camera. So, and that's why he's hardly ever in any of my vlogs. But anything to do with me and the girls, I'm more than happy to talk about. So if you can think of anything that you would like me to do a Saturday Storytime episode of, then let me know. But in the meantime, please do hit the thumbs up button for me. Comment down below, like I said. Please subscribe if you haven't already, if you like this sort of content, and also hit the little bell notification and click all, and that way you'll be notified every time I put a video up. Now I'm going to have to go because I have a Clyde here waiting for the dregs in my coffee. So thanks very much for watching everyone, and I'll see you in our next one. Bye!